Ladies and gentlemen, today we have with us a talented and accomplished personality, Mr. Indrajeet Sengupta, who has not only made significant contributions in his field but also serves as an inspiration to all of us. Now I request Ms. Pranamya of 3rd BCA, who will share insights about our esteemed guest and highlight his remarkable achievements.
Honorable President, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, leadership is the capacity to change vision into reality. It is with immense pleasure and a deep sense of pride that I take this opportunity to introduce an individual whose impact in the realm of human resources and corporate leadership is truly noteworthy. Mr. Indrajeet Sengupta, the Senior Vice President of HR at Mahindra Automotive Mumbai, exemplifies the essence of transformative leadership and progressive management. Mr. Indrajeet Sengupta had his earlier education at DBMS English School, Jamshedpur, and graduated from Revansha College, Cuttack. He obtained his MBA in Human Resources from Xavier Institute of Social Service, Ranchi. In his professional career, he has served various multinationals, including GE, Mars Incorporated, Johnson & Johnson, Coca-Cola, before joining Mahindra Group recently. With over 25 plus years of experience, he has led HR across many industries and geographies. Mr. Sengupta was recognized by Economic Times HR among the year 2022 top 50 HR thought leaders in India. At the heart of Mr. Sengupta's approach lies his ability to connect with individuals across, solve problems cross-functionally, and develop high-performing team culture. He is a certified John Maton executive coach and believes in empowering individuals and team to surpass their potential. It's with a great pleasure I present Mr. Indrajeet Sengupta to you all. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Pranamya, for presenting the honorable speaker, Mr. Indrajeet, to the audience. Now, let's prepare ourselves for an enlightening journey into the realm of preparing for the skills that don't exist. I invite Mr. Indrajeet Sengupta to share his thoughts with us. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, everyone, and good morning. First of all, let me start by, congratulating all of you at Sri Mahavira College in Mudbedri. It's wonderful to see so many of you, and I wish I could be there in person. And I hope that at some point in time I will visit the college that my dear friend and colleague in Johnson & Johnson, Sanjay Bhatt, has been so gracious in inviting me to his alma mater. Sanjay and I go back a long way, and I'm so delighted to be part of your leadership day today. Dr. Balal, thank you for setting the context. It's wonderful to connect with you, and I hope to see you sometime in person as well. Mr. Vardharaya Pai, we also wanted to thank Mr. Abhay Chandra Jain, all dignitaries who are joining up, and of course my fellow speaker, Mr. P. Ramdas Kamath. Welcome to this session. I have tried to make this in a way that makes it easy for understanding what's happening around us, and as students, how do we prepare? And I'm so glad that I have this opportunity to present this to you. I've been doing this since 2017, and I've been very passionate on this subject. Every time that I present this, my slides more or less remain the same, but the contents inside the slides change quite dramatically, because that's the world that we live in, which is changing so fast. Pranamya, thank you so much for the introduction. I can tell you my mother will be very proud with so many things that you have already mentioned there. The other important thing that I deliberately mentioned in the introduction, as you will see, I don't come from a metro. I have grown up in smaller towns and cities. They're like Cuttack in Orissa, Jamshedpur in Jharkhand now, as well as Ranchi, which is in Jharkhand. These are not very big cities. Everybody knows each other, but these are great hubs for education. It has always been the same, just like what Manipal is, and that is one connect that I can very easily connect with. I have some personal memories of Moodvidri as well. I've been here many years ago, and I hope to come back to that place. It's a lovely place to come. And at that time, we were hiring students as trainees when I worked in GE from Mahe. So those are some of my other linkages that I have. So let me connect all of these things for you, and talk a little bit about preparing for skills and jobs that may not exist today. So Sanjay, can I just request you to move to the next slide, please? So to set the context, there are some 5, 6 trends that I think very closely are always there. It's not changing very dramatically. Much of the research that I've done comes from McKinsey reports, World Economic Forum, Institute of the Future, and of course, many things have changed from the time that we also experienced COVID. So whether we accept it today, and of course we are in a very unique situation with a 1.4 billion population, with a huge population of youth today, which is unlike any other country. Human healthcare is becoming more and more important because people are living longer and healthier lives today. If you think about it, in 1947, when we gained independence, um, the average age might have been about 37 or 39. I can't recollect the number, but it was pretty much under 40. It's almost doubled by the time we are in 2022. And this will continue, and you see more and more people living. Therefore, over a period of time, we expect that medicine, from being a generic one in the way it is treated, also becomes much more personalized. So things that are very unique to us becomes a very important part, and therefore genomics in the future will play an even more important role than in the past. Similarly, with advancement of care, much of the things that we were getting at a hospital can actually be shifted to a home. So in many cases today, even when a patient is sick, need not go to the hospital, but the monitoring can be done from home because of so many advanced monitors that are coming in place. The backbone of many of these things is the telecom that we continue to use. And the telecom boom in the country has happened over the last 15 years, but it's tying up everything from entertainment to medicine to financial services. All of these are getting connected. Okay, next bullet, please. Much of this is also beyond telecom, happening from software. So today you have sensors all over the place. Okay, it could be you don't even get to understand, but they're all there. Today you have a refrigerator that can check as to what kind of food you have inside, and can connect with the store and order the food because it knows what's the pattern of your daily consumption. Very interesting. In our cars today, and today I'm part of a automotive company and a car manufacturing company. Much of the sensors actually help you understand what's happening around you. So you're driving a car, but you can understand that in front of you and on the side of you, blind spots that are there visually can be represented in front of you, so that you know how to maneuver your car. There are gesture controls which can help you without touching anything increase the volume as you are listening to music. It can help you change channels between the FM radios that you have. You can sit inside the car and figure out what's the tire pressure, and you don't have to go to a mechanic to find out that for you. And this is leading to an unprecedented level of data analysis, something that never existed. And I'm just curious to know that so many of us today have a cell phone, just like this one that I have. It has more computing power than probably the time that man landed on the moon for the first time. So that's the kind of a journey that we have made with an opportunity to use software. Next bullet, please. In 2017, when I started making this presentation, we were talking about how to manage repeating activities and how do you get that automated. And there were tools, there were additional softwares that were being procured, and we were doing this through different kinds of models. This could be like using a shared services in companies. These are things that you will hear about. I know some of these will be a little bit difficult for you to disconnect as students right now. But as you grow, you will keep hearing these things. But it is important to know how we are evolving. But cut to 2022, one of the single biggest things that happened was the entire rise of AI, and you have ChatGPT, which can pretty much replicate a lot of things. What it does not replicate, of course, is creativity, and creativity is something that no matter what keeps happening in the whole journey, creativity will continue to remain one of our strongest powers. I do not expect that AI will ever become as curious and as creative as we are. There are a lot of things that we are seeing which is appearing to be creative, but I still believe that it is not going to be so. But it does make a lot of our repeating activities very easily automated. It can teach us many things from many sources that we do not have access to at this point in time, and it is ending up in augmenting our human capabilities. With that, what I would usually take a month to accomplish, I could probably take no more than a couple of hours to accomplish. So that's the speed at which things can happen for us. Okay, next bullet. The other one which is changing extremely well, and probably we have seen many implications of this across multiple fields. It could be in politics. You would see that in the time of elections. You would see that in global politics, global negotiations. You can see that in our social media today, and many of you have a skill today that we did not have. And personally, as me, I'm learning some of that skill myself. Social media skills is something that all of you have adopted to. You have a skill that many generations before you do not have. And visual is a new vernacular. And what I mean by that is, English is the language of business, but I also want to ensure all of you know each one of us should be very proud of the language that we speak at home. Whether it is Kannada that you speak, whether it is Bengali that I speak at home, or Hindi that I speak with my friends. These are languages of a lot of power in an India context. And it's very important that we continue to use this to facilitate how we can make an impact on ourselves and the community around us. But adding to that language skill is also a visual as a vernacular, because today you can communicate many things with an emoji. And emoji is a new language, and if you think of it in that manner, just see the applications of it. You go to a supermarket and someone will say, give me some feedback, and it is in the form of some emojis. You go to Singapore and you're crossing the immigration line, it says, give me feedback, and you see some emojis. The application of visual as a vernacular is spreading immensely all throughout. And that's a new way in which our world is communicating with each other. Next bullet point. Okay. This is also impacting how companies like ours, where I work, is changing dramatically. From a time when everything used to be like a structure, you had a head of the department, below them you had people like that. Today we are working as a network. So technologies are actually helping us make it very easy, and things that we did in a hierarchy can now be done in a network, actually collaborating with many people, because we have realized that everyone does not have a solution to everything. We bring different perspectives, we bring different knowledge and skills and so on, but we may not be the ultimate individuals who will find a solution to everything. And that's why making places flatter gives more opportunities for us to learn new things. And like I said, I'm using the social skills that we are building up, especially with the social media skills. It's helping enormously in having a human to human connect in a unprecedented way that we never had before. We are as professionals connected on a forum called LinkedIn. Okay, LinkedIn started many years ago. It was intended to bring groups together, communities together of professionals. You could be from anywhere in the world and connected today, and it is probably the one through which we do so many different transactions. I am finding candidates that I can hire in my company. I can look for vendor partners who can work with us because they bring skills. It is a single source of database that no other way can be created. Now this model can be created in many ways. Humans have always worked in network, but the technology has really scaled up this in a way that we never saw before. So that's how companies are structured. Okay, next bullet point. This is, very simply, it is connecting us in a way that we never experienced the world before. I remember that when I first went to the US on a training program, it was a massive, massive thing because it was an opportunity nobody else used to have. But if you look at the last 10 years with the amount of tourism and travel that is now happening across the world, more and more people have experienced the US and all parts of the world than we could have ever thought about. It's easier to access, it's easier to learn, work can get done. We were all part of working for so many different companies during the time of COVID, and work never stopped, but we never left our homes. And this is an amazing thing that technology can do to us. And job creation, by the way, is incredibly happening in India. Our challenge is going to be to utilize the skills that we generate in India for the globe rather than the other way around. And I'm discovering more and more as I'm part of Mahindra as a group. It is a global multinational. The only difference that I have with my past employers is that this is a company which is based in India. All the other MNCs that I worked with had their roots somewhere in the US. That's the only difference. But it is as global as any other company can be. We have employees from all over the world working with us, and products that are sold across the world. We sell products in over 100 countries. So the ability to use talent out of India and skills out of India for the world has never been at this level ever before in our history. Okay, can we move to the next slide? So all of these things, as there are societal changes, as you can see, it is also about technology, whether it is telecom or whether it is chat GPT. There are hundreds of things which is happening around, which helps us make these connections become more real. And therefore, one of the skills that we have to think about and for all of us to make is how do we make sense of all of these things that is happening around us. So this is one way of looking at the world, the way I distilled it for you. There may be many different things that is happening to you in your personal life, and you have to make sense of it. So one of the things to focus on as a capability is how do you look at so many different things which is happening around you and make sense of it. Okay, it is not a skill that is taught in schools and colleges, but it's incredibly important for us to be able to create these connections because we have so much of access to technology and data. Next bullet point. This also means more social intelligence. Today we are getting more and more connected to the world. How do you work with someone in the US or in Europe or in Sri Lanka can differ. The social intelligence which is brought about today is not just about how I see you on the screen, but it is also about getting a more deeper connect with each other, and how do you learn from each other in the absence of being physically in front of each other. We are used to a world where we were in front of each other, we could speak to each other, we could understand each other's gestures, which is continuing to be there. but the social intelligence is evolving because now you have to make sense of each other's behavior patterns when you see each other on screen. Okay, that's the next important point to learn. Next bullet, please. There is a very important way in which you need to think about your and adapt your thinking. So make your thinking more solution focused rather than being very deep rooted in a rule based way. And I will, be provocative to say that we still continue to have education in a certain form of curriculum that is delivered to us, and that is how we believe that the basics are built. But as you grow in your life, your ability to connect very different subjects together makes a lot of sense. For example, if you have learned about math, there are a lot of mathematical and statistical applications when you look at human behavior. Okay, you may or may not study human behavior, and you may be an expert in math or statistics, but your ability to cut across and use data sets and skills that you learn in one part and think about the application somewhere else in the form of a solution is going to be very important for you to pick up. Okay, next bullet point. This is what I think I've always learned when I look at the iPhone. Right from the time that you receive the iPhone and you open the box, everything seems to be very intuitive. The way the box opens up, the way the phone starts up, the way it transfers data from your old phone, the way you charge the phone. Today, of course, you can do it wirelessly. A lot of it is extremely intuitive. And I think the focus that, while it is an engineering product, we all know it, it's with a huge amount of software. And whether you use Android or whether you use Apple, it doesn't matter. The whole experience of using a phone is so incredible today because it is set with certain design patterns that make it intuitive for us. Someone has studied our behavior in the way we would use a phone and made the phone exactly like that. And so things that we will do in our own life or that we do for other people, a great area of these would be impacted because of design. And I'll give you applications of that. In companies, we have a lot of policies that we have in how do you govern employee behavior and employee benefits. Much of that has been done with a very old thinking. And today we are using design as a mindset of creating policies. In the world of governance, today much of our public policies that need a lot of change, need a lot of design thinking to be brought in because it needs to be intuitive and helpful for people. We have youth. We also have a lot of old people in our society, those who are above the age of, let's say, 70. Many of the benefits that need to receive are not getting delivered to them because of the way our policies are designed. So there is a huge amount of opportunity for us to use design as a principle and then create outcomes that make a difference to everyone around us. Next bullet point. Therefore, my choice to all of you is think about literacy, and I'm glad that Dr. Balal spoke about how literacy is so important. But you also have to evolve literacy from just learning to thinking about literacy as how it crosses multiple disciplines. I draw a lot of inspiration from my father. He was a surgeon. He's no more. I lost him last year. He was an incredible inspiration for me because while he was a surgeon and a great surgeon, while he was in college, he would save money from his pocket money and buy books. And the collection of books that he has, that's the legacy which I have taken from him, is across multiple disciplines. It has books on psychology, it has books on English literature, Russian literature, there is books on ornithology, which is the study of birds. I never found him limiting himself to the domain that was his expertise area, which was surgery and medicine. He just, used every opportunity to learn from every source that he could. And that's not going to be part of a curriculum. That's part of a curriculum that each one of us we'll have to develop for ourselves. Next bullet point. Again, this is similar to social intelligence, but it's our ability to understand cultural nuances. When I worked in the Netherlands many years ago, it was very direct as a culture. So people would talk very directly with you. If you are in India, people talk very indirectly with you. You're supposed to pick up the message. There are times when your parents would talk about and give you a certain hint, but they won't be very direct with you. You're supposed to pick it up. As you work across multiple geographies, these are nuances that you'll have to pick up, because everybody in the world, while they may be similar to us, are actually quite different from us because of the cultural environment in which we are brought up. And this is something that we all have to be very curious about, either ask questions or observe people's behaviors, so that you can pick up these nuances, which is very important. Next one, please. Of course, like I said, I think you have the most important advantage today, where you have access to learning in ways that we never experienced. You have an ability to critically access content from just about anywhere. There are edtech startups which provide education, so it's not just a college, it's not just a physical college. You have sources in global universities, which is publishing online courses today, which is free. You have YouTube, which is a channel for communication, learning, and many things. So the way in which you can create and consume content in a new media is something that all of you are already very lucky, because you are born with an environment which is nurturing these skills. So just make sure that you're also picking these skills with you, because you will go and work with people in the future who would not have these skills. There are many of us who have to learn these skills and pick it up, because we never had an environment like this before. Next one, please. And like I said, I think computational thinking. But when I want to distill this out for you as computational thinking, I don't just mean about your knowledge of computers or your knowledge of software. What I'm actually telling you is there are so many abstract concepts that if you put data into it, gives you a certain sense of meaning. I'll give you an example of that, which is something that I was reading a few days ago. One of the things that I really appreciated in the beginning was the focus on inclusivity of Sri Mahavira College, the way you're bringing in students from everywhere, the focus on women. And I think many of these things that you spoke about, I wish many of our companies can replicate the kind of things that you're doing. And I really want to thank you for it and congratulate the management of the college for leading some of these things that many companies actually struggle to do. And one of the struggles for us in every company today is how do we get more women to come in? Because women come in at the early stages in their careers, they make their own choices in life. At some point, they drop off, and they might again come back. And what we found that over a period of time, if you study the data, you'll realize that in the beginning, there is a spike in women's employment, then it starts to dip, and again it comes back. And this is a lot of data from every type of source that we studied, and we realized that one probable hypothesis is that in the beginning, when there is a spike, and I'm including agricultural participation of women and so on, probably happening because there is a need for employment. There is a need to get over poverty. There is a need to feed the family. So everyone starts to contribute to it. So a lot of people come in. Now, as the situation improves, as the financial situation improves, which is actually happening in India, by the way, as the per capita GDP is increasing further and further, life is becoming a little better. There is a chance that women drop off because things are now better. There is not a driving need for it. And then again, after some time, women will now want to start coming back to the workforce because Now there is a personal achievement or a personal drive to accomplish something which will bring them back into the workforce. This is a hypothesis. There is a lot of data that is there which is talking about women and their employment rates. So the thinking that I'm trying to add to all of you is, how would you think about some of these very abstract data that you read about, you think about, and make sense of it in implications of how we would design the workforce for the future, is something that all of us today are working on. But I'm just giving you an example of what I mean when I'm talking about computational thinking. Next bullet, please. This is the most important one that I want to tell all of you. When you start to think about all of these things that we need to build up in ourselves, it has a tremendous amount of cognitive load on the brain. Okay. How do I filter the information? How do I make sense of this? It can really create a lot of burden on ourselves, and that is where I also want to encourage everyone: continue to have healthy working habits that you build as kids. As you keep growing, some of these habits die out. Our habits of getting up in the morning, going and playing sports, exercising, these are very important things for us in our mental health, in our physical well-being, in our spiritual well-being and mental well-being as well. And those are things that we have to be very conscious about doing for ourselves, because if we don't, you can see the amount of load that can come onto each one of us. Um, all of you would anyway have the pressure of studies, classes, you're preparing for the future, whether it goes into different streams. Um, be mindful of the fact that these are some of the strategies you have to create for yourself that will give you a lot of relief, as well as help you continue to stay true to who you are, and remain very fit and healthy, because this is going to be one thing very important for everyone. Okay, next one, please. And of course, last but not the least is virtual collaboration. I mean, this is what we are doing today. I don't see this as a talking session. I see this as a way of learning about you, learning about the college, learning about the students, learning about so many of my fellow speakers and dignitaries that I haven't met. And Sanjay is today playing that role of a collaboration agent, bringing all of us together on the same platform. This is another skill that all of us can think about building up. And like I said, all of these things that I brought to you is actually not taught in a school, and it is very very crucial that you think about it in a slightly different way to the curriculum that is there today, so that you can stay fit, healthy, but also start adopting these as you keep growing in your career. Next slide, please. So, like I said, when you think about all of these things, there is no better time than today that you can be curious to learn. And what I'm trying to use this presentation with all of you is, there are certain skills you already have. There are skills that you will build in your education system. Um, Stay curious so that you can build more skills by actually connecting many things that is happening around you, and become more aware of the world around you. There is nothing called right and wrong. It's the context which drives a lot of our skill set. So with that, I wanted to thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate the time that you've given to me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm going to tell you a few things before I conclude of how you could build a skill. And this is pretty much uh, in the contest that I got the message from Sanjay, which is the SMC Leadership Day, the best summary contest, unleash your potential. And what it talks about is, think about top three lessons, and what insights can you use it in your personal life. Okay, this is a skill that you can build right now, and it doesn't have to be right or wrong, like I said, but it's a skill is always a practice. It's like a muscle. How do you build a muscle is by lifting weights every day. Okay. The muscle starts to build up because you're practicing it. The day you stop, the muscle starts building. So a skill is exactly like that. So things that we spoke about today, and also what you're going to hear from Mr. Ramdas Kamath as well, is going to be about learning on the go and learning skills like this. So thinking, reflecting, and drawing out a lesson to be implemented right now is a skill. You will continue to hone this skill whether you're in college, whether you are in advanced studies, when you go and start working in a company. This is a skill that will always come of use. So here is an opportunity you can participate in and actually start building a skill from right now. Don't worry about the winner or whether I'm one or two or three or whatever. Practice it. Don't be afraid. Have the confidence. All of you should know that when I started my career, I probably would not have had as much confidence as I can see with all of you. So bring out what is best in you, and make sure that the learning for skills starts from today. Thank you very much.